Okay, YouTube, today we're going to go with my southern element of fire. For me, south means fire because I live in Texas. I'm already in zone 8, any further south and it just gets hotter. But fire is a surprisingly multifaceted thing. If you're familiar with it, I grew up on a farm where we had burn barrels that I was in charge of and grass fires, which I didn't do. And my dad was a volunteer fire department, so he was very invested in making sure we understood the danger and potential of fires, down to the reactions of certain chemicals and stuff. And then the different ways that fire can behave. It's knowledge that's come surprisingly in handy when trying to understand the element itself. See, most people think of fire as a purely destructive force, but it's much more complex than that. It's delicate. It's needy. Think about the other elements: air, water, and earth. They're just there. In order for fire to exist, it needs the triangle is of oxygen, fuel, and heat. So I don't think you're going to find a better element to use in workings that have to do with need or dependency. Emotions is also a good area because emotions so rarely stand alone. Think of depression. You're rarely just sad, and that's what depression used to be described as, just being sad. You're not just sad. You're lonely. You feel inadequate, and in order to work on the depression, sometimes you need to work on the contributing factors to the depression. Fire is also very changeable. A flame is never quite the same from one moment to the next. And so it's best used in something that requires or asks for a change, or where time is of the essence and you need a quick change really fast. But flame is also subject to conditions that it's in. As a girl, I watched fire, both slow burns, fast burns. I watched coals that could be coaxed back into flame with the right fuel. My family was really big on the 4th of July, and we did it all the way. We didn't just have little rinky-dink fireworks. We had the artillery shells, the mortar rounds, the ones that you drop into the tubes, and they go up like 500 feet in the air, and big boom. Yeah, so I learned a lot about explosive forces because you may not be able to tell because I can keep my accent under control for the most part, but I'm a redneck. So we didn't just put them in the tubes and launch them into the air. We did some stupidly unsafe shenanigans. So I learned a lot about explosive forces and the percussive effects of that. Something to be cautious of, especially when you're doing spells where you want something to reach that kind of explosive point, because there are percussive and concussive forces. I've also watched fires slowly suffocate and die for lack of oxygen. I've used accelerants to speed the burning process or to set fire to resistant materials. And all of this can be easily applied to any metaphorical, of course, but you apply the metaphor to anything that you want to work with. Fire can also be used to cleanse and heal. So imagine a gaping, emotional wound, some sort of upheaval, and fire is the tool to cleanse it, to cauterize it. Farmers used to set fire to clear up underbrush. Not in my area, I think up in more rainy areas, but it's kind of similar to trying to clear out the clutter so that you can see or move more freely. Like one of those where you can't see the forest for the trees, just clear out the underbrush. I should probably mention that the sun is also considered an aspect of fire. So think of the warming, the nurturing it does, and the sunburns if you play too much in it. Sunlight, warms earth. Flames can symbolize passionate love, you know, the kind that just burns you up, or a love that's dependent on things. But the warmth of the sun can mean the warmth of friendship or familial love, the kind that just warms you up from the inside out. The first day rays of dawn for awakening, or a light of hope after a long darkness. And if you want to be really technical, if you're having like romantic troubles, the sun would also be, the cycle of sunlight and darkness would also be helpful in, say, an on again, off again relationship, or one where your partner or you, let's be fair, are seeing somebody else, and so it represents the duality of the relationship that needs to be worked with. Fire, alone of the elements, can illuminate, and you can use it to bring understanding to yourself or others. I'm sure you can think of more, and you will as you keep practicing and keep, you know, working out spells for yourself. Now, getting to know fire, that's a toughie. See, in the interest of saving my own butt, I really don't want you to go around setting stuff on fire or playing with candles. So here's me going ahead and saying, please don't. If you have a fireplace or a grill, a barbecue, or if you live in the country, it can just burn. Have barrels like oil drums, clean oil drums, the metal kind. If you have something safe to burn things in, that would probably be the most helpful thing I can advise, assuming that you're following all of your local laws and burn bans, and yeah, and don't blame me if something goes wrong. And be careful, but if you have that kind of opportunity, it could be extremely helpful. Try using different materials, different woods to burn. You know, try things like accelerants, and just be careful, alright? I remember once, I'm serious, just watching the burn can be really enlightening, because once I remember I left the cap on a Coke bottle, and I tossed it in there, and when when you do that, it will explode, like just a little, and it surprised me, but it got me thinking about build-up of pressure and being able to, the relief of being able to release it, deflate. So, I mean, you'll be surprised at what kind of thoughts you'll have while you're really paying attention. Other than that, you might sit in the sun for a while. I mean, here in Texas, it is summer, and heat and sunlight together are a physical force that you could feel. Like, I'm not kidding. If I put on, like, sunscreen and I miss, like, a stripe on my arm, I will feel the branding of the sun on that stripe of skin. It's again, please use common sense. Don't sit out there in the middle of 105 degrees somewhere. Watch movies or clips on YouTube of fire. Actually, I think they have a no fire policy on YouTube, but there are plenty of movies that have it. My dad used to make me watch Backdraft a lot when I was little. Think of the last burn you had, stuff like that, you know, because when you get a burn on your skin, you have to cool it first before it'll stop burning. Let's see, an exercise, a really common exercise to practice visualization. That might be helpful, might not, I'm not sure. But you're supposed to light a candle and set it in front of you, and you stare at it for X number of minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then you close your eyes and you try to visualize the candle. Remember, visualization is important, so you might as well do this anyway. And if you learn something about fire while you're at it, awesome. I think eventually you're supposed to be able to take away the candle and still be able to completely visualize the candle and the flame and the flickering and everything perfectly. Let's see. Oh, and our next bit, colors and scents. This is my fire candles. Like I said before, I'm really picky, and fire candles seem to be really difficult for me because, for me, there can be a lot of scents on the breeze, and so air's not so bad, but, like, fruit does not say fire to me. I also despise cinnamon. I don't even know if it really, like, brings light fire for me, but I just despise the scent of cinnamon. I don't like the taste of it, I don't like the scent of it. So, when I was at Walmart buying my altar candles, yes, I know, I actually got surprised because these three colors together, for me, symbolized flame. They complemented each other so perfectly, and I knew I had to have them. And because the colors sync up so nicely, I can ignore the scents. I don't actually know what... It doesn't... Wait. Warm apple pie. If you say so. Cranberry mandarin. Okay, yeah, that's pretty. Wild honeysuckle. None of these scents say fire, but the three of them together override that because they make me think of fire. I've always been really picky with fire because most of the reds don't have it, the oranges don't have it, the yellows don't have it, but I don't know. This three candle configuration is working better for me than I ever thought possible, so I'm gonna stick with that until, I don't know, I might buy like a tri-colored candle or something. And for colors, these do, like, actually, I don't know how well you can see them with my camera, but they literally are the colors that I would consider for fire. And it's very difficult for me to have just one of those colors by itself. If I could pick a fourth color to go here, it would probably be that blue that's in Propane Flames. Let's see. Now, with that, we're through a fire. Water is next, and that's my favorite element, so I really hope to see you there. Blessed be.